All right. So, Sefi, we're ready to get started. Can you mute everyone unless they sort of text in or just for now? All right. So we need Ofra's.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, hang on a second.
So,
Technical details.
Esta es Whitehall, toda es la oficina de los
Sorry, hang on, guys.
gobierno y vamos
Wait, let's see if I can mute. All right, Sefi, are you able
a
to
la
mute Ofra?
derecha.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you mute people so that we don't get the background noises? Sefi,
Yeah.
Sefi, can you
Hay
hear me?
los guardados de la reina han ahí
Okay.
con el
Ofra.
informe y con el
Also, if you could put it on mute, if you can put it on mute,
with you.
so we can start the session, okay?
Yeah. Can I ask everyone to put their phones or computers on mute so that extraneous noises don't interrupt? If you'd like to speak, just on mute, and we'll grab your attention. There will be a question and answer period very shortly. So what I want to do is I want to start by sharing my screen.
Hoy.
So interesting. I'm not sure how well this is going to work with everyone sitting in the right-hand corner. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, welcome everyone.
El Parlamento con el Big Ben.
She's got to mute her.
El reloj, el Big
Ofra.
No?
Ofra.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I know, but you need to put your phone on mute so we can't hear the other conversations.
Okay. To do what? Sorry, I put it down.
Somewhere on the screen it's mute.
To do what?
What do you want?
Sorry, what should I do,
We
Jason?
want to make sure that the sounds from your car aren't coming in, so you need to press the mute button.
The mute button. Is the mute button I think on the side, yeah.
I don't think that's.
Okay.
Try that.
Will I hear you now is the question.
Yes, you will.
Okay, very good. Sorry about it. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and mute it. Okay, we'll try it again. All right. So, welcome everyone. So, who do we have on the screen? We have at the top, we have Sefi Epstein, who's the Ayelet representative, and he's the expert on this CA tour. And we have our KBI families here. So we have Jack and Nadine Solomon, we have Carolyn Rosen, we have Devorah Rotenberg, and we have Agnes Klein. I'm Jason, you know who I am. And we have our London families. So we have Ofra and David is driving. We have Joanne, who's holding Hallel. Hi, Hallel. And we have Teresa. So this is our core group. And we will we'll learn about this fabulous trip today. I wanted to just start off by saying a little bit what this trip means to me. I've been going to the Cantors Assembly conferences for years and years, and at the CA conferences, it's fantastic opportunities to bond with my fellow Cantors. We learn incredible new music, figure out new ways to engage our congregations. We have experiences that I haven't experienced anywhere else in the Jewish music world. And so the CA conferences, what this trip is an extension. It's like every second year the Cantors Assembly does. Ofra, please can you mute your phone? We can still hear everything in your car.
Are they still getting interference?
Yeah, we are.
Do you still hear us?
Yes.
In the background?
Yes.
Sorry.
You need to go to the bottom of the screen.
Well, sorry.
Okay.
Bottom of the screen and do
It
what?
says mute.
Mute. Is that mute?
She has an iPhone, it's probably on the top.
So
That mute.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Great. Okay. Okay. So the Cantors Assembly conferences. This trip is I know, guys, I'm behind you. It's not really helpful. Either you can see me or they can see me, so I'm going to go back and forth. The Cantors Assembly major trip, the missions, are Cantors Assembly conferences, but blown way up to another level, nth degree. But this is an opportunity that we have together. I'll just share with you that Ayala Tours is the company that organizes these missions. They've taken the Cantors and our congregations, our congregants, to Spain, to Germany, to Poland, to Israel, to where else, Safi?
Other places. We started in Poland, then we're going Germany, Spain, Israel, and now Italy.
Right, so this is a big deal, and Ayala is very, very good at this. They know, I mean, like Safi even lets, you'll probably hear from him later, but he even lets us know that if we have trouble walking, like he'll tell us how to get around the cobblestones. He knows that well. So it's wonderful, Safi, to have you here on this. I have you a little bit of a disadvantage. I've watched your session on Sunday, so I know your spiel. So the thing that's special for me is that this is my first Cantors Assembly mission. I've been to the conferences. This is my first time, hopefully, please God, that we'll be able to travel together. And that's really what it's about for me. So the Cantors Assembly Conference, I'm going to get so much more out of this because I'm with you. This is the behind the scenes, but it's also exploring something that I've never experienced before in my life. And for me to be, celebrating that with my London family and my Ottawa family is beyond special for me. So that's just a little bit of an introduction. Again, it's about our delegation. This is what is special for me. And of course, the things we're going to see. I mean, we've got the Sistine Chapel on the screen there. You can see, and I just can't wait to see these sites. Hear the music. We have wonderful, wonderful concerts lined up, and God willing, I'll be able to participate in them. We'll have some Schul pride and so forth. I hope. I say without meaning to have any airs. I've prepared this is the video that Cantor Nate Lamb and the crew put together to introduce us to this tour. So if you haven't seen it already, we'll see that now. If you have, I apologize. We're going to see it again. It's just 2 minutes, but here we can enjoy. Maybe. As soon as the internet kicks in. We have so many people online that it's probably slowing it down beyond recognizability. Perhaps I should have taken this offline. All right, let's see. Oh, come on. Okay, it looks like that might not work. Oh no, it's like too much. Let's try again. Maybe? Ah.
Benvenuti to Roma, to see the Colosseum, to see these ancient Roman ruins, and to reconnect with our history that goes back here so many thousands of years. So we're going to walk inside the great synagogue in Rome.
Sorry, gang.
This was in the link anyway. They could do it by themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stop this. We'll go on. It'll save a minute now. The link is on the information page, which was on the link to that was on the sign up page for this session, so you have access to it. All right, we'll just moving on. I can't even stop it. I'm just
Technology is wonderful and it works.
Yeah. It's,
That's much better.
Good. Okay, next slide. Okay. All right. So actually, this is exactly what I wanted to point out. Is that are we all still there?
Yes.
Okay. And we can all see this. Okay. So what I want to do is share some general information, and it's not working. Okay, we'll do it this way. So the trip starts in Florence. It moves to Venice and Rome, and the itinerary is online. It is so packed. It is so wonderful. We don't have time to go through it all today. Hopefully you've had a look on the Ayelet website, and it goes through from every moment of every day, and there are still bits that are still being planned and added to the program. But I just wanted to share some salient points with you about the trip. The hotels are all very close to each other, within 3 to 7 minutes walk from each other, and they're all Marriott hotels, from what I understand. So we have we've chosen to do the deluxe hotel package. This is the middle package. Oh good, it's working now, I can stand back here. And it turns out that most of the events will be held at the deluxe hotels, so we don't have to go anywhere to participate in all the major events and the davening and the food and so forth. And there's more details on the information page about specifically where each event is. One button.
We're not all gonna be in one hotel together?
We will all be in one hotel, but there are
Other people.
potentially up to 350 other people on this
But
trip.
our group will be.
Our group will be all in the same hotel,
So
so.
it means it's gonna be the same quality because it's a Marriott.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
That's
Oh,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, and if you do Marriott points, then you can use them, or gather them, as the case may be. So the flights, Sefi, can you tell me, are the flights still in the $1,000? I saw $900 US from Toronto. Is that still the case?
That's still the case, and it's still the case until the middle of next month, because we still have some group space allocated that has not been taken, all of it. So at this point, we are holding seats at $900 round trip to flying to Rome and coming back from Venice according to the dates of the conference. So this is available at this point, yes.
Okay, great.
These are all, even the flights are in US dollars as well?
The flights are in US dollars as well. And Sefi, we booked the flights through Ayelet?
Oh yeah, when you register, it will ask you if you want the flights. If you do, you just put it on the registration and we will put it in. If you want to have connecting flights from other cities, all you need to do is just mention it and we'll get back to you with options.
Right, so Ayelet is a full-fledged travel company, so they'll do all that for you. So that's very helpful, thank you. So that leaves not huge amounts of time, but some. There are particularly Rome and post-Venice tours available, and you would work with Ayelet to plan those. We're not going to get so into that here today because just of the volume of material I'd like to cover and discuss and everything. But Jack and Nadine, you had any quick questions you want to ask of Sefi of the pre and post tours?
Well, no, plus tours, like the Sicily or something?
Yeah, pre and post tours, yeah.
Yeah, the Sicily is the only one that I was of interest. I don't know how many days extra would add on to the trip or whatever.
The Sicily tour is 5 days extra, and the itinerary plus all the information about that is on the website for this mission. On our web, you can go and you can connect to this mission, and you can see all the information. Or if you want, just send me your email. I will email it to you directly, so you don't have to look for it.
Do we have your email?
And
I will make sure you have
my email is Seffi, SEFFIE @ayelet.com.
You've got three individuals' names, how are they, what's their position?
No, they're people just joining the trip from London.
Ah,
They're
that's
people
it.
like
Yeah,
Ah,
those are
okay,
just-
nothing
yeah.
to do with the administration.
Sorry, I mean, I
Okay,
didn't make that clear.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Seffi's from Ayala, the others are our
Oh,
co-conspirators in this
Yeah.
in this mission.
Okay.
Good. So yeah, we'll make sure you can ask those questions and so forth. Okay, so for the mainland package, airport transfers on arrival and departure are included. And the thing is, we from North America will be arriving in Italy early in the morning, very early. So, but they thought of that, so they'll take care of us before we can check in, because it'll be too early to check in to our hotels. But there will be buses to take us where we need to go, and with our luggage and everything, and they'll take care of all that.
Is all this, what you were reading up here, that we can have in print?
I will make sure you have it in print.
Okay, so I can,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm also videoing it, so anyone who isn't in this session can take a look at that. I'll put that up on YouTube.
Okay.
Good, so that's just a little detail there.
Okay.
Seffi pointed out in his session, general open session on Sunday, that it's a pretty intense tour, or maybe it might have been Jeff, but there's boats, trains, buses, and there's a lot of walking. And he mentioned that there's cobblestones at times, so we can simply let Seffi know in advance of any physical difficulties, because he knows the tricks and tips and can get us around with the most comfort. But it's not it's not scary, difficult to do. We're not going to be hiking in the Himalayas. But just to know that it's a different landscape than perhaps we're used to, and that's just something to keep in mind. We're hoping that it will be 200 to 350 people on the trip. That means about 30 people to 40 people per bus. We will stay together as a group generally, and except when there's time for touring and on our own, and meals, there are certain meals on our own and so forth. So we can choose to do that as a group also, but generally we'll be together as a group, as our KBI delegation, and also in terms of like all the meals and all the davening, we do all of that together as a whole massive group. So there's going to be a lot of interacting, a lot of meeting people, a lot of wonderful conversations, and a lot of music making along the way. You don't have to be a musician to enjoy and join in, but there will be lots of opportunities to take part musically. So, and you're highly encouraged to do that. There isn't a packing list up online yet, but there will be soon. Jeff, who's also at Ayala, let us know that on Sunday. And so the information page at Ayala lists all of the programs and and where the meals are included. But outside of those meals provided, just so you know, there apparently are 20 or more kosher restaurants is it Florence? I think it's Florence, right?
No, in Rome.
In Rome, okay. Right. Oh, that's right, 10 minutes taxi from the hotel in Rome. In Florence and Venice, there's like 2 each kosher restaurants. And there's suggestion lists that are going to come out soon with more details on that. And if you're vegetarian or gluten-free, all of that is readily available. We will be using the conservative movement's teshuva on eating out. So if you're not going to be in a kosher restaurant, we do warmly encourage you to have kashrut in mind and eat vegetarian and mindfully if you're going to be eating anything that's cooked. But vegetarian, gluten-free are always available. So just some information that I asked of Ayelet earlier, because there were some things on the page that apply to all trips, but specifically how does it affect us? It mentions that what's not covered in the costs is the cost of visas. We don't need a visa to travel to Italy. US and Canadian residents don't need a visa. And at the moment, UK doesn't need any, just need a passport at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, London friends. But if you don't have a US or Canadian passport, obviously you can get that where you need to, here in Ottawa or there in the UK. There aren't any border taxes for this tour, so though you might see that on the list as something that's not covered, there aren't any. The trip pricing does mention pre-collected tips that are not part of the land package. Those are collected at the time of registration and payment on the webpage, on the ALA webpage. And travel insurance. So this is good news for the Canadian contingent, not as great news for the UK contingent in that the travel insurance that Ayelet has lined up is just for North American travelers. It's not age specific, and it accepts pre-existing conditions, which is great. From the UK, you'll need to secure your own because this doesn't cover European travelers. But from what I understand, you should check with your credit card company, London people, because they may provide some degree or an adequate degree or an even upgradable degree of travel insurance.
Excuse me for interrupting here.
Yeah.
Because it's for the people coming from Canada, I would suggest checking with insurance, not through us, but through the Canada, because your health insurance, check it out. Most of the time, Canadians are covered also when traveling.
Not
And
anymore.
if you don't need that, then if you can get a Canadian insurance for cancellation, etc., that would be much cheaper.
Yeah.
So I would check that before committing to any other insurance.
Thank you. They just taken it away from
But
us.
that's health, he's talking about cancellation.
Cancellation, still check with your credit card and your credit card company because they
Correct.
often do cover you for a lot of things, including accident insurance, like if you're driving a car or whatever. So all of us should check with our credit card companies, and if they offer travel insurance as well, it could be cheaper for us in our Canadian dollars. Then I think that's what Sefi's saying. So definitely check those things out. But also, there's all kinds of companies online, both here and there in London. They have AXA, Global Link, Travelers, which is here and in the UK. There's many choices. Agnes?
I actually have coverage through my employer. However, in my trip, I'm going to Israel in March, I took cancellation insurance because they don't cover cancellation, and it cost about $87 for at that point when I bought it last year for my Air Canada ticket. So that's around what Air Canada, as part of the ticket, has.
Great.
Correct. For Canadians, that's the way to do it.
Fantastic. Okay, that's really helpful.
And that's, contingent on being Air Canada, because I think that's likely the cheapest.
It is for us.
It is.
It's
Well,
Air
wait,
Canada or
I
CodeShare.
just want to know, he says he has some group seats put away for the flights. Which airline will you be traveling with?
Alitalia.
Oh, Alitalia.
Is Alitalia part of the Star Alliance?
Yeah. I think so. Sefi, do you know if Alitalia is part of the Star Alliance, which Air Canada is part of as well?
Okay, we can look it up
Yeah,
here.
we can check.
I'm not sure. I
We
don't
can
think so. I
find-
think they connect with American Airlines and etc. It's not
I
the
know
Star
that-
Alliance.
I know
I think
which
it's
American
more the United part.
All right, we'll look into that. Okay, and
You want to say? You want to ask?
yeah, Nadine?
You want to say?
No.
Okay, okay.
So this is just something that Nate brought up in a previous session, and it's a very good point because we are a staunchly egalitarian conservative synagogue, as many of the congregations are that are traveling to Italy. Most of the tefillah services are us. We're doing it ourselves in the hotel for the most part. There are a few services that are outside of that. So for when we're not davening under our own auspices, for example, when we're in the Great Synagogue of Florence, for example, those few services will be most often traditional Orthodox services with separate seating and male-led. And out of respect, and in light of the opportunity to do Jewish with our Italian counterparts, our hosts, the Cantors Assembly has agreed wholeheartedly that we will be open-minded and accepting and just go along with that for the experience and be respectful of the spaces and the separations and so on and so forth. But really, again, we're not trying to, nobody's trying to convert anyone, as it were. But that's just a piece of the Italian community that's slightly different than ours. I just wanted there to be no surprises about that. Okay, and finally on this list, I think, it's sort of a non sequitur, but we will have with us on our trip Professor Stephen Burke, who's a fantastic historian and scholar. He'll move around from bus to bus, so whenever we're moving between places, he'll give a little bit of a spiel on whatever bus he's on. But there are also organized lectures and tours, walking tours and bus tours and so forth, and opportunities to sit down around the table with him. He is phenomenal. I've heard him speak before. And he's got all kinds of stuff on YouTube, so you could follow. But he's really, really good, and I'm excited that we get to have this historical aspect. Nadine, if it's helpful, I'll tell you when I'm at the bottom of the screen, so you can take
Yeah,
one
so
picture.
then exactly.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
that's it for this screen. The next screen's coming up. So you can get this information on the Ayala website. This is the sort of the important financial piece of it. The land package is $59.21 if you pay by credit card. The total package, not counting things like the tips and any meals on your own and tchotchkes and so forth. If you pay by check, it's a little bit less than that, so $57.49 per person, double occupancy. What's that? Okay. Who used checks, right?
The
You can
checks
come
made
from
out
the
to
bank.
Ayala?
The checks would be made out to Ayala, yes?
Correct, yes.
Okay, good.
And on the check, you have the agency number and all that stuff there, all the,
Yeah,
Okay.
that, I'm sure, yes. It is for double occupancy, so if you're a single occupant, Ayala has already started lists of other people who are single occupant, and they can pair you up to save the costs. I didn't even put the cost of single occupancy on here, I don't even think I know it. But if that's important to you, just,
No, it says, I think in the material you said, it says that there is a premium, and it is approximately how much, I don't remember anymore.
it's possible. But if that's something that's important to you to have your very own space, if you're coming as a single person, then you can work that out with Ayala. All this stuff is between you and them, really. Airfares, we said, is $900 approximately from Toronto. You'll have to get yourself to Toronto, of course. While you're there, you can visit my parents if you like. I'm going to do that. My grandchildren, exactly. So the questions came up about money in Italy. Nate said that taxis, it's best to have some cash because not all of them reliably accept credit cards. He said they nominally accept credit cards until you get into the cab. So best thing is to have some money. But if you're gonna do anything on your own, you want to take a taxi, just you can use Uber, and that automatically connects right to your bank account back home. So you'll just pay the equivalent plus whatever exchange rate and so forth. But it's super duper easy, and you don't have to carry anything on you. But you will need cash if you want to buy any tchotchkes, pay for any taxis, regular taxis, and so on and so forth. But Jeff at Ayala and Nate Lamb, who's gone to Italy and scattered out all these places with a few of our Cantor colleagues, they have this experience already. They know what it's all about, and they basically said you can use credit cards there for everything. Don't expect Amex to work well. They don't have a lot of people using Amex, but Visa and MasterCard are great. Nate, Rabbi Lamb suggests having 2 credit cards just for safety, and phone your bank in advance and make sure that they know you're traveling, so they don't lock your card down the second you make an expenditure in foreign lands. Yeah.
Where's the best place to come with some cash? Do you convert here, or just a little bit here and then you convert over there into
Yes.
the local currency?
So my understanding is that the best rates are kind of you might have to shop a little bit. But there are companies online, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. We used to use it while we were in London to change cash. You would literally buy through this online company cash, and you would pay from your bank account, and they would send you cash. You could walk into. It worked well for us because the rate was the cheapest, and it came in a FedEx package and all that sort of stuff. But you could walk into your bank, and that is the best way to get started. Come with some money. If you need to exchange money there are Forex places that you can do that along the way, plus the airport, and it's always cheaper. And
Where's it cheapest?
our banks are expensive, so what do you recommend?
What do you recommend when you travel?
Wait till you get
You
there.
don't come in with nothing at all? Yeah, okay, so you get a little bit, just to get you started.
Sefi, what do you think?
What, yeah.
Get cash in advance or get cash
I
there?
think personally, if you can get a little bit in Canada and take it with you, that's good. Personally, I don't really a believer in working too hard on this, because if we're talking about the difference in the exchange rate, on $1,000, it's $3 or $4 difference because it's 3 or 4 cents each. It's really not worth the time. Do what's convenient for you is more important than the difference in the rate, because even if the difference is high, it will come to $6. That's not on the total package and the total travel. It's not worth the aggravation of looking for it. But if it's very easy to change money, I would not change it, not at the airport and not at the hotel. Those are the most expensive and not worth it. But there's plenty of cash changes on the route of the tour. You can change at home before you leave. You can use credit card, and I would do that because that's convenient, and you can also track it. And again, as you said, if you're using credit card, take 2 with you, and that's much better. And check with your credit card before you leave what's the cost, because they can play around with exchange rate and with fees, and that's much more significant than changing a few $100 here and there.
Thank you. That's very helpful. All right. There we go. Exchange some money in advance. Okay. Oh, sorry. Wait.
Go back.
Go. Here you go. Anyone who wants to take a picture of this, go ahead.
So, $1 equals what?
I don't know.
You'll figure that out.
I'm not sure at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
Not sure at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. Good. So, any questions? Sefi will help answer them, and we'll add, and we'll ask Sefi to add any salient points or any other advice and so forth at this point. Anybody have any questions here? Anybody in London have any questions?
Let me just give you a few in 2 minutes. What's so amazing on this tour? The difference between this tour and probably any other tour that is sold is that we incorporated into this tour many things. And practically we're doing 4 different tours in one. And the reason for that is we're doing the general touring of Italy, that we visit Rome and Florence, a very special tour to Ferrara and Venice, which as a regular tour. Second one is we're doing a Jewish heritage tour, traveling with Jewish clergy and meeting with the Jewish people and the Jewish communities in Italy, with an opportunity of building a bridge to them and to connect with them. The third tour that we're doing is really a musical tour, and that you can't do really anywhere else. When you have 60, 70 cantors traveling together, and once every 2 days or so we have a concert with those sounds and with that depth of Jewish music from many years in Jewish history, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's true.
The fourth one is beginning to know the Italian Jewish community, which is not anything like anywhere in the world. The reason for that, Italy is probably the oldest Jewish community outside of Israel, because it was established, and there's a line of family from when they were taken away after the destruction of the Second Temple at 70 AD and until today. And we have tracked history of that. And we will be meeting families that they have a family tree dating to that time. And that's amazing of itself. The other thing, as far as music and Italian Jewish music, is unlike most of the countries in the world, which you have a tune that represents the city or the country. Like when people are from Morocco, we know the tune, or Sephardic, we know the tune. When people are from Germany, we know the tune. In Italy, each city has its own tune because the people came there from different places. So that's an amazing part of its own. And we will be traveling through it. With traveling with the cantors, we have the sound of music throughout. We have it on the bus with the cantors that are with us on the bus. We will have cantors at specific sites that connect to music. Like when we will visit the synagogues in Ferrara, okay, we have the Cantors from Ferrara, which they have their own tunes. We have the Cantors that come with us, and we will have some music while we visit the synagogue. So it's not only a regular visit, it's a very special visit. And then the fourth part of this is Professor Burke and two other lecturers that will be traveling with us, and we will be having their input into it. And for instance, what we will have those lectures, Italy in the summer is very hot. So in the middle of the day, we'll come back to the hotel, and then we will hear the lectures, rest for a bit, and go out again in the afternoon. And that way, we are using the time of the center of the day for those things. So there's a lot that went into the planning of this, but you're getting really 4 tours in one, and that's the uniqueness of this mission.
Fantastic.
Just, I'm on detail, okay.
Please.
There's a deposit requested and then a balance. Are there dates involved with
Yeah,
deposits?
so Steffi, if you could talk about deposits and balances.
Yeah, the process of booking is a few ways of doing it. First, you can go online and register online, or if you want, you can print the registration form and mail it in with a deposit. There is a deposit requested of $500 US dollars. The balance is due 3 months before we depart. And you will get all that information.
And the deposit is due when?
March.
When's the deposit due?
Deposit is when you sign.
When you sign?
When you register.
Okay.
The importance of registering is that you will be helping us with the planning, because as we get closer, we won't have the rooms, or you won't be able to book the rooms where you want, and with a specific, as Cantor said, we have buses, we have boats, we have trains. All of this has to come together. So when you sign up in advance, it will help us on the planning. It will help you be together throughout the tour and get everything done easily. So the deposit is really, it's a $500 deposit per person, which part of it, I think half, is refundable until 3 months before. And if you have insurance in place, all of it is refundable to you. So the best is really to register, get in place so you know you're traveling together, and all the planning is done.
Okay. Also, what cancellation or refund policy do you have, in case of, God forbid, health situations that arise between now and then? Or that's all to do with our own insurance that we take?
That's mainly with insurance, but the policy is a deposit is done, 50% is not refundable, which is $250, and then there's a staggering until 60 days before, which full penalty is in place, and that's why insurance is recommended.
And that has to be taken at the time that you actually do the registering.
So
The insurance has to be in place immediately as soon as you register for
Yes.
cancellation of insurance and all that. It should be done at the same
and
time.
then this is if you do it as travel insurance through group insurance on our system, you have to request it. You don't have to pay it at the time of booking. But as I said before, for Canadians, you better check with your own insurance, because you can probably get a much better deal in Canada. And then it goes according to their rules, and because we are not involved in it. But if I remember correctly, from previous Canadian tours, is that you are covered for the insurance with the health insurance through your provider, and then the balance of it is, I think, is something like, will come to anywhere between $100 and $200 total, and that's worth investing in order to be sure that you don't get hit if something happens.
Okay. And the other thing is the flights. You said you're holding these seats on the flights till February 13th. We have to let you know before February 13th?
Correct.
So that's a separate check covering the flights. It would be in two different.
It's all in the same booking, and it all goes according to the same payment system.
So the $500 that you want on the registration will include for our airfare as well.
We'll hold your flights as well, yes.
You'll hold your flights as well, okay.
Even though the flight's not completely paid yet by then.
Are you able to, when you get the flight, does that mean we can ask for the front seats rather than the back or whatever? I don't know.
No, the group seat is the group block. If you want premium seats or business
No,
class
I'm just
seats,
asking,
those are
when it's-
booked separately. And all you need to do is call the office to give you all the information.
Okay.
But this is based on regular group seats.
And okay, this is off, but the rooms at the Marriott, they're all the same room, kind of rooms type thing?
Well, the deluxe hotels are all,
They're all,
A certain level of.
yes,
All the hotel rooms that are held
yeah,
are based on run of the house rooms, meaning the best available based on the rate of the entry level category. And again, all of that, if you want to see room types and the pictures and the connections, if you go to our website, and there's a section there of hotels, and you've got all the information about all the hotel, room types, and what events will be in your hotel. And if you're taking the deluxe, most of the events will be there.
okay,
works out very nicely.
okay.
Good. Any other questions there? All right. So now
Is
what?
there any
Just a
question?
minute then. What about the equivalent for London people? What are the costs and everything? Are they all going to be in US dollars or what?
All the costs are the same, they're in US dollars. And as far as the only difference for UK people is for the flights. And flights from the UK, you are better off just booking them in the UK because that would be much, much cheaper.
Yeah, and you just time them to land, arrive in Italy at the airports that we're flying into and so forth, or whatever works best, and there will be, you'll be able to take advantage of the shuttles as well.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense? Good. Any questions from London? Any other questions from London at the moment?
I don't know if Joanne had any questions about bringing Hallel, her baby, with her. Is there facility for having a cot in the room, in the rooms as well?
A cot is not a problem, and if you need a car seat for the bus is also not a problem.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, fabulous, right. So just that information, just given on booking, that would be sorted out just then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Good. So here's the sort of the beginning of the what now piece of things. To make the trip affordable and logistically workable, delegations need to be 10 people or more joining their cantor. We can probably make it work with 5 people. I know it's an expensive trip. We can also talk offline, we don't have to do that right here, about fundraising opportunities, or GoFundMe is something that each of us can do either individually or as a group. There are grants and scholarships and so forth. This is a very educational trip, so we'll explore ways that we might be able to bring the cost down if that's something that's important to you. I am so enamored with this group that we've put together. I'd like to figure out a way to make it work for every single one of us, and so that we can make the commitment. And that's really the hardest part, is like pulling the trigger and saying go. So at the moment, it's still not a case of like, okay, everyone go home now and do your deposit today, because we have to ensure that we have a minimum number of people to run the trip.
So you'll keep in touch with us?
I will absolutely. In fact, we're going to start a WhatsApp group, just make sure we're all in one group and we can communicate that way, including the London people. And we're just going to keep in touch over that and other things, and share ideas, and just use that as a way to keep in touch. But obviously, we want to do this soon. My goal is that by Wednesday, Thursday, that we'll be able to say, I would like to, I don't know if that's enough time for everyone to think about it and do their number crunching and so forth, but to say by Wednesday or Thursday, I think we're ready now, let's go for it. But one of the things that we can do is, these are just some of the numbers we talked about earlier. One of the things that we can do is we can recruit people, because now that I'm even more excited about this, and I know we've gotten just a smidgen of taste of what's actually going to be on this trip. It's so hard to put it in words and put it into emotions, but this is going to be beyond incredible. I mean, I just know it, and what will make it so is the pride that we have in sharing this, I think. And they've already worked, Ayelet and the Cantors who've organized this have already worked out incredible things in store for us that we can't even imagine. But what we have to do now is we have to tell other people about it. I'm happy to do another information session in the next week or two, but we would love to get these numbers up and get people joining us. Nadine,
How many are we short right now? Because we're a few people in this room and there's London people.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
So that's the whole question. How many people are short? If everyone in this room and everyone in that room is highly, highly interested and motivated, and money is workoutable, then we are, there's 5. What are we? 4 over there. The baby doesn't count. The baby's not paying for a land package. Yeah, so there's 4 in London, and there's 5 of us in this room.
So that's 9.
So we're not quite there yet,
And we're not far.
and not necessarily everyone in either location is going to say, I'm ready to do this. So that's just being totally honest. So part of our job is to see if we can get there in terms of the numbers.
So
But
10 includes London. I mean,
10
it doesn't mean 10 from Ottawa, it's
10 from anywhere.
Any mix.
And it doesn't have to be just London, it doesn't have to be just Ottawa. It can be if you have friends who you like to travel with and who would enjoy this experience, you have to bring them along. They will not forget it. They will
I
not.
have
They will appreciate
London people.
Yeah,
They're
London people,
and
yeah.
I don't know if that's in their price range that they would want to pay that. But they're 2 people that's done. We met them on the Klezmer cruise in 2007.
So I'm going to ask everyone to brainstorm a couple of people that you or I can approach. And I'm happy to share. This video will be available online. I'm happy to run another information
All this here,
session.
you'll have the sheet so we can make our own notes.
I will
That's
absolutely.
all taking pictures.
I'll make
Take
you.
pictures.
You got pictures of it already?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll make it available also in a PDF.
Yeah. That's the one.
And as I said, I'm going to set up a delegation WhatsApp group to keep in touch, which just means I need everyone's mobile phone numbers.
So, I'm reading 2 things that don't coincide.
Yeah, go
Make your $500 US deposit deadline March 24th, but he needs to know before February
Yeah,
13th.
so the deposit is due like ASAP.
That's right, it has to be before February 13th.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
And that 500 includes the holding of our
we'll
seats.
hold the seats on the airplane, right? So that's why the word final is in italics. So it's another thought. Maybe it should have been another paragraph. The deadline for the final payment is March 24th.
Oh, that's the
this is the
final.
final.
Sorry,
Final
this is the
payment.
deposit.
This is
You're
the
right.
deposit. I should have separated them. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's
Yeah.
okay, that's okay. You're right, you're right.
And make sure. So when you go on the Ayelet webpage, if you've been there already, you've already had to choose that you're a congregant traveling with a cantor. You've been able to select my name. If you haven't yet seen that, please do take a look at that. But you go select my name from a list. There's what is it, 60 cantors at the moment? Oh, you're muted.
Oh,
He doesn't realize.
he doesn't know
Safi?
what
We can't hear you.
Oh, yes, we are already at 60 cantors, and we are already at we're very close to 190 people. But when you travel, the only people that you're involved with are the people on your bus. That means the 30, 35 people, that's your group. Each bus will have its own itinerary. So you don't go and stand in line of 30 buses to go into any place. The only time that you will be all together is in concerts and events. So during the day and most of the day, you have to have as a bus at that group together with your cantor.
Fantastic. That's really good to know.
Okay, because nobody wants to stand in lines all day.
Is there any books or tour books that you would suggest we read ahead of time so we're prepared for?
I've got a list.
Absolutely. And again, if you will go onto the website, you see there's suggested books on readings and also phones. that you can see in order to get prepared. Most of that was done by Professor Burke. That will be the speaker, or one of the speakers.
All right. Any other thoughts or questions? I think, let me just make sure I don't have anything else, but I think that was it. Yep, that's my last slide. All right, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Seffi, thank you very, very much. Yeah, me too. And I'm so excited. Thanks for everyone for coming to join me for this this session. To all my wonderful London friends, thank you, and it's so wonderful to see you as always. And I'm excited to have these all our worlds come together, including your worlds. Bring in your friends, bring in your family members, bring in. We can get this to 20 people.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
It's just the cost.
It's the cost. It's the cost. Yeah, for sure. But it's going to be well worth it. An unforgettable trip. Thank you all so much. We're done for today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Seffi.
Dito.
Thank you guys. Good to see you all. Bye.
Right.
Oh, I hope Seffi recorded that.
There she is.
Bye, guys. Stop share. Okay. Fantastic. Well, have a good rest of the day. Lots to think about. I hope that you'll join me, and I hope that you'll help recruit people. I'm going to be working hard on that. Let's make this work.
So would we consider, once we have our Ottawa people getting to Toronto together as well, or everybody's on their own and other?
We could do.
You're going ahead, or?
I don't know. That's part of the thing. Like, that's going to be the most flexible bit. We can do that a little bit later, I guess. I think it could be nice to travel together. I mean, why wouldn't it be nice?
If it works, it works.
If it works.
Some people might want to go. You have family to visit.
Yeah.
People have friends there, so yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put that in the WhatsApp stuff and see whether we can coordinate that. And
So how do we get connected with you with WhatsApp?
so I need your phone numbers, but I'm sure I have them, and I'll.
Because I'd like to, again, I'm on WhatsApp. I don't know how I tell you how to reach me. Just by through a phone number?
Yeah, I just put it into my phone book. But we'll do that offline. Like, we'll do that separately. I have the shul database, so I have your phone numbers anyway. And if I need to confirm them,
The only
That's my cell number.
phone
Yes, your
that
cell
will
number.
work- The only phone that will work is my work phone, if it's going to accept the WhatsApp.
all right. Will you send me the phone number of the phone that has WhatsApp on it?
No, I don't have WhatsApp on anything. My own phone has got only, I use it only as a phone
Right.
for a number of reasons, and my work phone, I don't know whether it's going to accept the WhatsApp. It may not, they just changed it from whatever we had to an iPhone, and I'm so disoriented with it, it's not even funny, because it's really that different from all the other cell phones I ever had.
All right. No.
So I'm going to send you the number,
Okay.
that phone number, because
Perfect.
it's
We'll
the
see if
only
it works.
one that works, but it wouldn't work out of Canada anyway, so it's
Right.
okay.
Well, no, it's more for here.
Yeah.
It's more for
yeah.
here. If there are any questions that you have for me privately, I'm always available, except now I have to go pick up my kids. But you know I live here, I work here, so.
We know where to find you.
We know where to find you.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, go.
I'm even more excited now.
Well,
Hope
I
you
have
made it
to
work.
tell you, I said to Jack, he went on that Ukraine Klezmer cruise.
Yeah.
I said, Jack, if I give you back the money, I took away your memories. Would you rather have the money back than give me back the memories?
No,
It was
beautiful.
special, beyond
But
special.
then I counter and
And you know what,
said,
it's
how long
true,
did
the
it take us
Italian,
to
so
make
let me
this
tell you,
money?
the Italian
See,
community
you
is
weigh
very
it, you know,
different.
Yeah.
you say,
I
but of
had a
course us,
classmate
we're a
whose
lot older than you
mother
are,
was part of
so
the
we know
initial
time
group
is
of the
starting
Dead Sea Scrolls.
slowly to run out, especially this year, I find I
And
tire
when
more.
One day I did,
So,
we were very
everybody-
good friends,
It's
and one day I
like
had
they'll say,
a
when I
kind
hit
of
50, I
temerity,
feel it more,
by the way,
or
to say that the
whatever
Ashkenazi,
is on your head and in your
correct,
mind,
it said we're neither
you start to
Ashkenazi nor
say,
Sephardi.
I don't
We're
think I'm
Italian,
buying
it's
you.
a
I've
very,
heard of people
very
who come to the
different
pharmacy and one
group.
specific
And,
couple,
you know,
will come in
that
flag-
family, I mean,
flag
his parents were so proud of his
newspaper all
father
the time.
was the
And
head
you get to know
of
people well
Roman
talking,
law
so I want to go
at
this with my
Roman
wife, just,
University
oh, we'll do
in
it
law
later.
school, and
Thing is, there was no
they were
later.
actually
He
evacuated
died,
Oh.
and
to
he was
Liberia,
still very,
and
very
they
comfortable, I know, I
actually
knew who he
were one of
was.
the few families
And that
who
was
were
his
evacuated
biggest
to
regrets, and
Liberia
I
and survived.
was
And
able
I
to afford it
think
then, I'm still able to afford it now, my kids
Claudio
still have
was
something.
born in
She always
Liberia,
had an
not in.
excuse. That's easy to say,
And from
everybody
then
comes
his
with
father
baggage,
was
so,
at the end of
you
the
know.
war,
But you
he
have
didn't
your-
want-
your
he didn't
mind
want to
on
go
it,
back
and
to
that's,
Italy.
yeah,
But
I
his
do,
parents
you
had
know,
to get
we
some
both
refugee
lost our,
in
well,
Brazil, and then
my
from
father
Brazil somehow
died
he
in
ended up in
87,
Uruguay, and she was the
father-in-law
the
in
head of
2012,
the university
and
that
my
had the
mother and
Christian
mother-in-law
Uruguay.
close in time, and that's
So,
when we decided,
you know,
since
there was
we
a.
were, there,
She
each,
used to say
each,
very
each had their
very
own
different-
caregiver,
it's a
and we
very
were there,
different
I used to come up
picture.
from
I
shul
think
on
that
Saturday,
because there could
spend
have
time,
been a
go to
long
the bakery,
continuity
let the
there.
nush, because I would go, and I was more
Where
strict
there
now,
hasn't
there
been
than now, I says,
others
I
came,
won't go
others
shopping
went,
on
but there's
Saturday,
been,
we'll use
as
the
he
car
said,
to get where I have to,
uninterrupted,
if I leave it's mechanical,
routines.
so other people can
So
say
it's
otherwise.
very, very,
That'll be
And I'll
very,
expect around
so that's
6 people
interesting,
apart.
right? In itself,
Here,
in
I
itself.
said, okay, I respect you, he says, I see you're like, you're a good person, so I'm not gonna
There's
go by the
big
letter of the
fascinating, I
law,
had
the
a
rule
piece of
laws,
time and I looked
what's
through
your
some of them.
intent?
Yeah.
I never forgot that, when you get any legal training, there's no, but
I'm
being
sorry,
a rabbi, I've got some
I
understanding,
don't remember.
so I
where.
Yeah, you
know
have
when
to
to
meet-
bend and not bend.
That's right. You have to, yeah.
Oh,
Clergy have to meet their congregants
Okay.
where they are, and
Are
that's the
we-
only way to understand
Yeah.
how to do this.
Oh,
Yeah, so I,
No, because I feel like I'd
No,
spoken,
I
you know, we're
understand these
newish,
things, you know.
we were here 4 years
And,
now, but I
I'm
feel.
newish
too.
Are you
Yeah.
newish?
All right.
In Ottawa?
But it's great.
it's great, well, we're
Oh,
gonna work on
no, no.
2, 3 couples that we think might be interested. I think financially they have, the question is whether they,
Yeah.
that's what they want.
Right.
So of course, the one who's
And
in
you?
London, we met them and Levine there. So they're comfortable, I think, if they feel that's what they want to do.
Where were you
It's just
born
a
then?
question of saying, you know, so if you want
And you
more,
came to
then
Ottawa?
call,
What brought you to
you two guys get together and you
Oh,
can
that's what
speak
you
it out,
should
you know,
do.
Yeah.
so that's it. And
That would be,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
you know, who
I
can
met somebody
do
from
it,
San
you know,
Diego,
that's it, you know,
California, which is supposed to have the best weather.
It's,
And she's
you
in
know,
Ottawa. I
it's,
said, what are you doing
you
in
know,
Ottawa?
it
She's
just.
fell in love and her husband comes from Ottawa. I said,
I
well,
just
you
like
must love her pretty much to
European
leave San
flavor. I'm not an
Diego.
American type person.
Yeah.
I
Where's your home base?
don't gamble, I don't go to Las Vegas, I don't do anything, I just not, it means nothing to me. You know, like I see it, and it's gone forever, but.
Well, what part of the
you know,
States were you
but,
from?
But Europe excites you.
Yeah, you know.
Me too, me
You know,
too.
it's,
Oh, okay.
it's nice, I can go to the washroom, I'll be back.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna clean up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had friends from Philadelphia.
My pleasure.
And I used to see the girls year out and
Millstein?
year. They used to go with their bubbies.
Did you ever know Millstein?
I don't even remember their names.
My family
Atlantic
is
City was our go-to place as a vacation. First, it started out in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, Old Orchard Beach, but then we upgraded to Atlantic
Ah.
City for our vacation. Some beautiful memories. Oh, I just saw a thing about the whole history with the steel pier and the $1 Million Pier and all that stuff.
Really?
It was wonderful to watch, and I have the diving